Happy 2017, everyone! Alright, so this is a show that I first started watching a few years ago when season 3 was first airing. I actually discovered this show via Jeremy Johns. Yeah, secret's out. I watch his videos like all the fucking time. He's kind of my inspiration here. A new series 3 was coming out and he was just praising the first 2 series. So I sat down and watched the show all the way through, and yeah, it's just one of the best shows out there. So now that series 4 is coming out, I'm gonna give you my videos on Sherlock. So let's start with series 1. Sherlock, Series 1. So the BBC show Sherlock is hands down the best adaptation of Sherlock Holmes I've ever seen. Funny thing about that is that it's not really a true to form adaptation. This takes Sherlock Holmes, which was written in like the 1800s by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and places him and his characters in modern day, which in this case would be 2010. Now there have been a lot of things that take things from the past and place them in modern day, and a lot of those things are not really that good, but this you don't gotta worry about because it is excellent. Don't believe me? Go check out all the Emmys the show has won. Now before I jump into the characters and the plot of this show, I'm gonna get the score out of the way, because as good as the score is, when you think of Sherlock, you don't think of the score first, you know? But the music is really good. There's some really great theme music here. It's one of those themes where you can tell just by the instrumentation you know you're watching Sherlock. The use of the harpsichord and the strings, that's what really makes it. Great stuff. So I'm gonna get right started here with Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock Holmes. In a word, oh my god, I can't even name one word to describe this dude. Let's establish right now that this is the role that put Benedict Cumberbatch on the map here. The guy is a self-proclaimed high-functioning sociopath consulting detective. He'll take one look at you and tell you your entire life story. And of course, I love when the show shows that. He'll walk into a room and you'll see cliff notes on the screen, it zooms in on stuff. I mean, it's just uncanny what his mind can do. You're in admiration of it. And he shares a flat, 221B Baker Street in London with John Hamish Watson, played by Martin Freeman, who I'm pretty sure this is the role that also put him on the map. And he really serves as our eyes and ears for the show. He is an admiration of Sherlock like we are. He's just a normal dude, you know? I mean, sure, he was an army doctor in Afghanistan, but when he comes home from service and he pairs up with Sherlock Holmes, his world gets turned upside down. Because in the words of another character in this show, he isn't haunted by memories of the war. He misses it. Now that he's back in the battlefield, we get to meet a bunch of other new characters. Mrs. Hudson's our landlady. She's really nice. She's kind of a comic relief in a way. I mean, Sherlock undoubtedly has the funniest moments in the show, but Mrs. Hudson is really just kind of a relief. You're like, oh, we're with Mrs. Hudson. Okay, we get to relax a little bit and have some fun. And we're just kind of hanging out at 221B Baker Street with Sherlock and Watson. And that is the concept that the first episode of Study in Pink introduces us to. We get to know the characters and we go through a basic case, which is the basic gist of the show. And it's just a lot of fun to watch because Sherlock is bickering with the British police, which is where Detective Inspector Lestrade comes in. He's kind of like your generic basic supporting character A, you know? But what can I say? He's really good at being that. Because the way it's set up in the show is that the police really can't do their job without Sherlock. Sherlock's not a policeman or anything. He doesn't even get paid. He does this for fun because he gets bored really easily because he's just really smart. And then of course there is Mycroft, who is Sherlock's brother. Mycroft works for the British government, or as some people put it, he is the British government. And the relationship he has with his brother is really complex. It's a lot of fun to watch them bicker because with every conversation they have throughout the entire series, you can tell there is history there. They're brothers. They grew up with these same kind of arguments. To quote him again, you can imagine the Christmas dinners. But that's where this show really excels. It's the reason this show wins Emmys, because of the characters and the writing. The second episode, The Blind Banker, is really just another standard case. Again, kind of showcasing the general gist of the show, but it's still really cool. They have to solve this mystery about some sort of secret Chinese underground network of terrorists or something like that. And what I get from this episode is that, well, really the first couple series of this show are great casual watches. Like, you can have the first couple of series of Sherlock on in the background while you're doing something else. It's just fun to listen to, but it's also great if you're just sitting and locking in on it. But if we're going on to the third episode, that is the great game in which we are introduced to Jim Moriarty. If you need an analogy, Moriarty is to Sherlock what the Joker is to Batman, you know? He's the arch nemesis. But you don't really see him in this episode. He's kind of behind the scenes. He's got this whole operation going on where he's giving Sherlock little case after little case, pretty much just making Sherlock dance around and solving these cases, because if he doesn't, these random people with bombs strapped to their chests are gonna go bye-bye. And it's a great, fantastic episode culminating with the pool scene, where we first meet Jim Moriarty. And yeah, it's a really great scene. I'm not gonna spoil what happens here, of course, because you gotta go watch it. In the end, the BBC show Sherlock has some of the best written dialogue I have ever heard in anything. Like, ever. Period. You love the character of Sherlock Holmes, you love Watson, you love all the supporting characters, Molly and Lestrade, Mrs. Hudson. You love watching Sherlock just crack down and explaining everything to these lower people, because like Sherlock says, we see, but we don't observe. Yeah, it's a very quotable show. It has some really good visual effects, you know, the writing on the screen, which only looks better as the show goes on. Each of the series or seasons seasons of this show are just 3 episodes long, but all the episodes are an hour and a half long. So you feel like it's a good amount of entertainment you're watching here. You can just take 4.5 hours out of your day just to watch one season all the way through. I've done it quite a few times, in fact. So, Sherlock Series 1. Have you watched it, and what is your favorite episode? And yes, I will be making videos about Series 2 and 3 and 4. They're coming. Whatever it is, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.